Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry to be slow getting in here today. This is Shelly Dressel doing a channel with the Universal Light Beings this evening. And I've literally been working for 15 minutes with my microphone. I have a microphone that I've used all the time. I've had it, I don't know, a year and a half, something like that. And for whatever reason, StreamYard decided they didn't like it. It didn't recognize it. So I've been trying the microphone in my webcam. I've been trying the microphone on my computer. And Alexander's telling me it's pretty low. So you might need to raise your volume just to see if you can get it in. Let me try something out of curiosity. I am going to turn that off. And like in the middle of all this stuff, my computer rebooted and you know, I think I've said before, I always try to go as much as I can, not with the big programs and everything, but I ended up having to switch over to Microsoft 365 because I screwed up my whole computer. And since then, I've just had one problem after another with these things. So I do not like that program. It's got so much AI in it. It takes over in the background and doing things like rebooting the computer when I'm in the middle of something. So it's just fine. Oh, good, Karen. The sound is okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So anyway, that's where I've been. That's why I've been slow to get in here. And but we're all here now, and we'll just begin this. I need to give me a couple of minutes to get myself balanced here. I'm sharing here, I got to do this. Here is a link that you can see. Coming up in July, I have two classes, one that's in the evening Eastern time and one that's in the middle of the day Eastern time. And this is for soul communication. It's about being able to communicate with your soul. It's about having a greater open and alignment with your divinity and your higher self. It's about learning how to communicate with other people from that space of your higher self instead of from your ego or getting all caught up in dramas, things like that. So it'll have meditations. It'll talk about energy. It'll talk about different things. I have used soul communication for over 20 years. And it was an interesting way. I was just meditating one night and my daughter was a teenager and we were like, how mother-daughters get. And I was like, you know what? If we could just clear this up somehow, I don't know what we need to do to clear it up. And it was as if Kelly walked into my room and said, I don't know what you think this problem is. You need to remember, I'm a master also. I know what I'm doing. I'm all good. And so I said to her, well, okay, you may be a master energy, but you're still, I don't know, 12, 13 years old, whatever she was. And we had this communication and everything that I expressed to her kind of shifted and everything changed like 2 or 3 days later. And I was like, wow, that is really, really powerful. I mean, there's more detail to it than that, but it was really, really powerful. So when I'm doing private sessions with people, we frequently will have that kind of soul to soul communication. It's a way of just kind of getting past the everyday. And in the new energy, as we're living in this higher frequency, I think that is going to become much more of the norm, is that people are going to be learning how to communicate from their heart or from their higher self instead of just the everyday. That way, if you do get caught up and if you are having turmoil with someone, then you can just separate from the ego and connect in another way. So anyway, 2 classes coming up that I'm talking about that. You see the link right there if you want to look at that more or register. There is a discount until the end of June if you want to go ahead and sign up early like that. So what else is going on? I just did a meditation on Sunday with Goddess Light, and that was really, really powerful. It was also about working with your intuition, working with open communication, working with your intention. So that was a really good meditation also, if you want to go back and look for that. I have 2 channels. goddesslight.net is what I use for the meditations, and then Crystalline Transformations is what I use with the universal light beings. And so this and all of the ULBs and what I do with here comes through the universal light beings. Sorry, I have to turn my AC down a little bit. Whenever I channel like this, there's so much more energy that's coming in, so I always have to lower my AC, and I forgot because I was distracted because I was trying to fix the microphones. Okay, so anyway, food for thought. You can look for that. If you want to have a private session with me, you can look at either one of the websites, and there's information about that, and you can see what's available. I have times at various times during the day and evening, so just send me you know, you can go ahead and sign up for it, and then I'll send you an email and we'll work out a time. So lots of people here on JBL speaker as well, but you sound good on my iPhone. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Karen. Appreciate that. And so Australia, Wisconsin, Australia, England, Melbourne. Look at that, 3 people from Australia. Thank you. We do get people from all over the place, and I thank everyone for tuning in here. I mean, even Atlanta, which is where I live, we have several people from there that always come in. I know I've seen Ken, Joanna, Maggie. I've seen all your names every single time. Thank you for always being here. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, so what's going on in the world? I haven't done any minis just because I didn't feel inclined to do so for the last couple of weeks. The last one was about Trump and him getting that that decision that came down. And so I saw a couple of people ask questions on Telegram, and I did see those questions, and I don't know if Alexander did and put them in the queue, but you know, maybe they'll go ahead. Look, I am literally sweating here. So we'll try to talk about that. It's people getting frustrated. Hey, Laurie, good to see you. Terry, Angie, Rosalie, Hilda. So many people. Wonderful. Thank you. What was I going to say? But so many people are just getting frustrated. You're frustrated that things have not come out, that it hasn't been the massive disclosure. You're frustrated that the IRS has not come down, that the government has not come down. And that we still seem to have all around us people that are clueless about all this that's going on. 100% agree. 100% agree with all of that. I can't disagree. However, I do believe that, and you know, I'm sure Albayon will talk about it, or Brysentia, but you know, we cannot say a time. I mean, we've said times in the past, and you know, that comes and goes. And indeed, there is more and more that is coming out, but it's for those that know where to look for it. I'm sorry, I've got these messed up now, so I'm just trying to get it. So anyway, all of us that know where to look for things, we see the downpouring of all of this information. And I hear from many people around the world. There's a lot in Australia that's coming up for disclosure. I was talking with Maggie about it, and even things on mainstream media down there that, you know, was it there or someplace else where they said, you know, this person should not have died, but she did because of the vax. So, you know, so they are coming out. They are saying more. It is all happening, but it's just way slower than anybody wants it to be. And so we will tap into it. We will look at it. Oh, by the way, I did want to mention, I was doing a channel with someone, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't remember when it was, a while ago, like within the last 2 weeks. And she was asking the same exact question, and we were looking at it. And for the first time, when the group of beings were looking at that essence or that energy, it came across to me very differently. It came across as this big, huge, inflated fakeness. And that's what I heard. It's all fake. So we all know that things have been going on, have been like watching a movie, and that a lot of the people that are playing these parts are not the real people. The real people have been rounded up, and the people that are left behind are the ones that are just playing a part in this whole thing, trying to awaken people. So yeah, we all know that. But what was different is, even so, I was able to always look at people and timelines and see these parallel timelines. But this time, for the first time, it was like I just saw this big expanded emptiness. and kept hearing, it's all fake, it's all fake, it's just fake. So I said, well, why don't we just pop this bubble then and just get rid of all the fakeness? Let's just get rid of all this alternative timeline so that it's no longer an option. And that's what we kind of did during the channel. And I have gone back in there several other times. I can still kind of perceive it, but I'm hoping that maybe, hey, Leslie, good that you're here. I'm hoping that maybe, I don't know, Brysentia, Albayon, that one of them can look at this with us and help us to see how we can just get rid of that whole alternative timeline so that it's no longer a timeline. It's no longer a potential for people to tap into. That would be my intention and my goal, so that we can then just have the only timelines available are those that the disclosure is out, the people have come down, the martial law, whatever it is that needs to happen is now happening. Okay. So I just wanted to address that because I've heard from lots of different people, and I'm sure that that's one of the questions. And I'll see what they say when we go into the channeling. All right, so I guess that is about it. If there's anything else, maybe I'll think about it, and we'll just put it up there later. But for now, let me go ahead and get started. And yeah, I'm a little bit ungrounded, and it just was so frustrating not having the microphone work, so I need to kind of gather my energy. So give me a second to do that. Greetings. It is I, Albayon. I'm so very happy to be present with all of you at this time. I do enjoy these sessions that we have together. I guess you can call them a session, these discussion groups that we can get together and talk about not only what is happening here, but what is happening in the universe. As to what Shelly was just saying before we began, you've got many of us sitting out here in the universe on the edge of the energies of the earth plane saying, yeah, that's a good question. Why don't we do that? So I did want to share with you this little bit of information because maybe you'll find it interesting. When it comes to those of us that are out here in the universe that are aligned with all of this, we're out here on the massive motherships. We're out here on other ships that come and go between the various planets, but there are 3 motherships. Let me just talk about them. We've spoken about them before, and the thing that's interesting to know is it's almost like it's by no means is it a planet, but look at some of the big continents that you have on your Earth, like thinking of the North America, thinking of the Europe, China, Australia. When you think of those big continents, it's a large amount of land. These motherships that I'm talking about, these 3 that are here, are about those sizes. So on these motherships, there are multiple levels, some place where they're growing food, some places where the people live, some levels where people get together with one another. And then one of the largest that's up on the top is where people get together to communicate about why they're here. Why are they hovering around the planet Earth? Why are they hovering and providing a base, so to speak, for people to come and go? When we say this size, you think, well, goodness, then it would take 4 or 5 hours to go across it. We remind you that we have the non-gravity devices, so we can get from one place to another very quickly on these ships. The ships themselves are not gathered together in a row. They are strategically placed in what turns out to be like the shape of a big, huge triangle. And these ships are creating an anchor of energy and light so that that flow of energy and light that moves between them is creating a stability for the earth plane. Now, there are many, many other ships, like think of the Enterprise and think of other, like Star Wars, and those great big huge ships that also have hundreds, if not thousands of people living on them, and they can move around a lot more easily. So those are also present here. There are also make it 3 stars, because you don't call them planets, but these stars are physically located here and they're constantly here. And these are where the ancient ones reside. The ancient ones we refer to are the ones that have been the keepers of the earth from the time that humanity came onto the earth. These are multiple different cultures. They're multiple different species that are here, and they are the ones that have the highest and best interest for everything that happens on the earth. There are many, many, many things that need to go through them in order to be approved for it to happen. We're talking about interventions. There have been many, many times. It was known when the nefarious ones first came in hundreds of thousands of years ago. Let us rephrase that. The nefarious ones have been in and out of the planet Earth multiple different times. There have been times when there was an eon, that 26,000 years, as you call it, that went through and then it dropped. The nefarious ones came back. They tried to get a stronghold. They tried to take over. And then something would happen that would pull them off the planet. There would be a collapse of that civilization. Things would be cleaned out. They'd start over again. So this is what has happened multiple different times. This is why you have the history. When you look at the various layers of the earth, you can see that there have been nuclear bombs that have gone off in the past, because they come from within the planet and they come from out here in the universe. I do want to reiterate to you that those, okay, I just heard that. So as far as the nefarious ones that have been on the planet for the last 30,000 years, those are the ones that have a direct line to each of these that came in at different time-space reality. One of the differences is that before they came back 25,000 years ago, they had set up bases out on other planets, in not only in this part of the Milky Way galaxy, but also in other parts of the universe, thinking that they could then take over the entire universe, and then nobody is going to give them a hard time, and they will be able to spread their nefariousness, if there is such a word, to all parts of this universe. They did not count on the ancient ones. These ancient beings, the keeper of the earth, are never, ever, ever going to let that happen. And they are the ones that have repeatedly worked diligently to get them off the planet. It was decided maybe as much as 100,000 years ago, maybe 150, in talking about like time-space reality. It's not exactly what you would consider that long ago, but it was decided that at this time, this whole entire universe was going to move up in its frequency and its vibration. In doing so, when you look at the multiverse, when you look at other universes, it's almost like there are countless other universes out there. But the ones that are most connected to the one in which you live, it's almost like if you see spokes coming out of a center wheel, which is the central sun, and these spokes kind of rotate around one another. And it's as if it's going around in a circle, and that spiral keeps going up and up and up. So it has been coming up to this pivotal point for a very, very long time. And that is why they started a very long time ago to get rid of all of these people that are the nefarious ones that want to control and manipulate, where they had it set out in Orion, where they had it set out in other parts of your universe as a means of trying to control this entire universe. It is what decimated Mars. It is what decimated other planets. Some of them just literally were absorbed into a black hole and they were gone. They thought they were getting away with things. And even though they knew that someone might know about it, they literally didn't care. You can imagine, as you think of these nefarious ones you have on your planet, the arrogance that they have, that belief that they're above everything, that belief that they can do whatever they want and nobody is going to take them down. This amplified is what has been associating with your planet and creating the destruction that you've been experiencing. The planet, the universe, all of these different layers coming together. So that being said, I did want to share with you that, how do we say this? When we think about when did things happen on Mars? When did things happen on the moon? There was slave trade that was going on within the universe, and people were stolen from different planets and forced into that. And it's been horrific for such a very, very long time. So when we think about the ways in which we've been clearing it out and removing these individuals, you're thinking of it in terms of what's happening in the last few years on the Earth plane. But it might have been 100,000 years ago out in the universe, but that doesn't correlate 100% with your linear time-space reality. So what's important to understand or know about all of that is that it is actually more so that systematically throughout the entire universe, these energies have been released and they're sent to another universe that is wanting to go through that experience. You cannot take energy like that and just eliminate it. It cannot be eliminated. It can only be shifted and moved. And so that's why it was sent far away. So let's talk about the laws of the universe, or universal law as you hear it. The number one is love. The first universal law of the universe, or the universal law, is about love. Love of thyself, love of other people around you. And what goes along with love? Compassion, courtesy, consistency. And that's, that's the number one law. And obviously, the people that have been living on the earth plane and the nefarious deeds they've been doing, that goes 100% against that. There are other laws, like when you look at those 10 commandments, as they called them, that was a horrific transmutation, you could say, of some of the universal laws. Because they took things and twisted it. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. No, that gives people the permission to do harm to one another. The true universal law is only do unto others acts of love and kindness. Period. Not as they would do unto you. Not as, it's just only treat others with love and respect. Period. Universal law. And it all are different ways of interpreting that love vibration and that love frequency. There are many other different ways that you can interpret it, but that is the foundation for everything. When that, and that's always been out in the universe, but it's where all of these nefarious things have been going on. It's been nudging up against it. It's been a group of people arguing and trying to say, oh, well, this is okay. We have it very similar. It's like this, or it's like this, or we can do this. And it was all just manipulating and trying to make okay things that were not okay. How often have we said to you that the truth is going to come out. This is what you all are waiting to hear. And then when we say that, you suddenly get different people that are saying to you, but there's this interpretation of the truth. There's this interpretation of the truth. But the foundation is the truth is the truth is the truth. And as you are much more in alignment with your soul, with that love vibration, that love frequency, you can see, sense, know the truth for what it is. And then as people are talking to you, if they are trying to bend the rules or not be totally honest with you, you will sense it. You will know it. You will know that, no, that's not right. And you will speak the truth. Why can't these nefarious ones be sent back to source? That's a great question. That's a great question. That's a great question. Because whenever someone leaves the earth plane, they do go back into their source, their soul essence, into that which is source. But we've always had this sense of them going like sideways into something else. This is above my pay grade. Let me call on someone else and ask someone else to come in here and talk about this. Ah, okay. They were sent back into source, or attempted to go back through source, but they refused. And if this, of course, we cannot force them, but when they began this transition of so many people, we were sending them all back into their soul, sending them back into the source light, and it got to the point where they're like, no, I'm not going there. Nope, I'm not going back into soul, because they knew what would happen to them. They knew they would be absorbed. They knew that this would all be transformed and transitioned. So it was because through their consciousness that they had, they created a barrier that kept them from going back into source. Great question. Thank you for asking it. And it allowed me to kind of reach out and ask someone else for that truth. Okay. So let's see. I had one more thing to share with you, because people keep asking us, you know, what does all of this mean? So coming back to that triangle shape, when we talk about creating stability, these motherships emanate or send off waves of frequencies that span anywhere from the 4th dimension up until about the 12th or 13th dimension. So what does that mean? Not a whole lot to you, but what it's saying is it's trying to create a balanced energy. So, and they've never done the 3rd dimension, never. The 4th is the lowest vibration that they are willing to go. And as things continue to shift upward into the 5th dimension and they're no longer dropping back down, the 4th dimension will collapse in on itself just like the 3rd did. So these targeted, when you think about your satellites that you have floating around the earth and sending the information back and forth and bouncing off things and coming back to you, some of that might be coming from these motherships. The motherships do it on a much larger scale, because they are also sending frequencies out into other parts of the universe, and they're sending these this information and these frequencies around the earth plane so as to stabilize the earth plane. Now, when it comes to the beings that are coming into the earth plane, I myself am coming more often than I was before. Brysentia is coming more often. There are many, like there's probably thousands of us that have been on the earth before and are choosing to come back and help to cohabitate on the earth plane. So yes, indeed, they're here, they're coming, they're going to be here, and they're showing up for many of you already. Some people feel it as just a warmth. Some people feel it as an expansion of their heart center. Some people physically see what looks like a ball of light. Some people physically see what looks like the actual physical being that is coming into the earth plane to help with that. So there are many different ways that you can interpret this, and the more often that they are here, the more easily that it is going to be received. One of the reasons that I wanted to say, and again, these are what have been here for thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years. It started off with just the ancient ones, and then there was one mothership that came in, and then another one. And you do remember it was New Jerusalem, I believe, that came in, what, 2 years ago, two years ago, I believe. So as far as these motherships go, they're the stabilizers. Some of the other ships that are working, many of them have gone out. They've moved out from here because they're no longer needed, and then others come in. So different phases of this ascension plan are organized and worked by different people in the universe. But the Federation, the Galactic Federation, the Federation of Galactus, there are many different groups that have different names that people call them from the Earth plane, and there is an overlap of many of them. They're just perceived differently by different people. So we have a lot of us that are out here, and we are all working very diligently. So I did want to talk for a moment about the timeline that Shelly mentioned when it felt like it was all just fake and it was just emptiness. This is something that is going to be addressed with the solstice, which is coming up right now. Some of you that are in the forward part of the planet are already more so in those vibrations and energy than some of the other parts of the planet. But with each one of the solstice and the equinox, there's already been an amplification that comes every year at that time. So when you consider the other things that have been going on, meaning the eclipses, meaning the solar flares, meaning the shift in the Schumann frequency, which is giving you a visual to help you understand, all of these things are showing you that the transition is taking place and is manifesting right in front of your eyes and available for you to experience in howsoever you so choose. So this false... when Shelly said she felt a sense of like pop and it just disappeared, and that she's gone in and done that several times, well, she's not the only one that perceived that. There have been many, many others on the earth plane that have also gone in and consciously discontinued that false timeline where people have been living in it, which would then give them no place else to be if that timeline is gone. And another thing that's different about this way of looking at it is it's not about asking it to merge with another. It's about saying it is gone, gone. Like you send a knife down between it and whatever is around it so that it can no longer slide over or become a part of something else. And this in and of itself is another way of really disconnecting these energies. As this is completed, you will get more and more of the people awakening. They're still... My problem is when I look at people and I think, oh yeah, they're awake, I'm seeing them from their energy field, which includes being awake. And then, like if I'm kind of eavesdropping or watching them to see how things go, I realize, oh, that's in their unconscious. They're not aware they're awake. That is way more prevalent than I thought it would be at this point. There was a massive solar flare that came in about 3 days ago, and that was setting up the energies for this solstice. There was a monolith that manifested, not only the one outside Vegas, but in various parts of the world. There were about 6 of them that manifested, coming from inside the earth, and these are becoming antennas to anchor this energy of transitioning that is coming in with the solstice tomorrow. So everything happens a few days before the focus and then a few days after. So that's one of the reasons why you had that huge flare. That's one of the reasons why so many of you have felt out of sorts. It's important for you to begin to recognize that all these different things that you are calling ascension symptoms, it's time to reverse that. It's time to start saying, well, I'm feeling these symptoms because the other people around me are not where I am. It's no longer about you trying to reach up and get into that higher frequency. You are here. You've arrived. You're vibrating at this level. So if you feel anything and it's that perception of, it must be the changes in the energy. Well, it is because your energy is now higher. So clear out the energy around you, no matter what you're feeling. Headache, nausea, difficulty eating, ringing in your ears, no matter what it is. Just clear out the energy around you, bring in your own divinity, and it will help you to feel better, because you're now starting to pick up so much of what is the lower frequency, and you're not there anymore. You're done with it. You have moved on. So that was my perception of that too. All right. I know that you have many questions for me, and I am very happy to shift gears and start answering those questions. When and how will we discover our hidden talents or powers from our DNAs? So your DNA is very, very, very non-physical. When they talk about the DNA, and it just makes us all laugh at, what do they call it? 95% of your DNA is just junk. Really? Really? That's telling you the ignorance of that individual, or someone trying to make you believe that it is ignorant. That 95% of your DNA is the non-physical aspect of your DNA, meaning it's more than that which makes you human. It's that aspect of you that is associated with telepathy, that's associated with clairvoyance, clairaudience, all of these different ways of being able to see things. So everybody is going to be able to feel it, but you also have to work with your human self. Every one of you probably that's listening to this at this time, you all have the ability to receive and to have that discernment and to receive the information, be it through your intuition, or see it in the energies around you, or feel it in the energies around you. It's there. It's already happening. So the question arises when someone writes that. Obviously, they're like, well, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not feeling anything. So that is your ego. That is the human personality that's telling you you're not seeing anything or hearing anything. So what needs to happen is you need to train your physical eyes to see things that are not on the vibrational frequency that you're looking at every day. How do you do this? Through meditation. How do you do this? Focusing on your third eye, focusing on your energy bodies, that there's an open flow of energy and light that is moving through them. And then that's the problem. So many people say, but I can't meditate. Meditation is too hard for me. So how are you going to make a change if you stay in the same place? Change comes from doing something different. And you can't just keep looking at a situation from the same place and wanting it to change. It's never going to change. So for those that say, I can't meditate, meditation doesn't work for me, then find another word or find a different way that you can just calm your mind enough and allow these energies and frequencies to come in and align with you. Sometimes for people, if you have your hands busy, like say, for example, someone's out working in the garden, pulling weeds or something like that, and that keeps their hands busy doing something, well, that's a great time to just open up your energies and ask things to come down and assist you. Say, for example, someone is painting or writing, or, I'm thinking of things right now with your hands. How about the times when people are walking and that movement? So it's simply that you have to get out of your everyday reality. You have to ask for these energies to come in and be present within you in order for this change to be manifested, because it is there. It is already a part of you. But if you don't think it is, then it is you, the human, that doesn't think it is, that needs to make the change. Someone says sewing. Excellent. Whatever it is that you like to do, and Shelly just saw knitting, crocheting, like some people like woodworking. Just doing things that open up your energy field, that's what you can do. If it's too hard to just be quiet and sit in the energies, maybe turn on some music. Maybe listen to a guided meditation. You don't have to follow the words, but the words take you into the frequency. So it takes you making a decision to make a change in your life and then following through. How many times do you know people that just say, oh yeah, I want to make a change, I'm tired of this, and then they do nothing, so nothing happens? This is not about casting blame. This is simply about raising people's awareness and each person taking responsibility for their lives and their choices, because that's a choice. Your choice is to not do anything different, to continue on in the places that you have, in the way that you have. Okay. Very good. Let's move on. It has been announced that Moderna receives U.S. FDA approval for RSV vaccine. We have been informed that the mRNA spike protein will be in all the future jabs for cancer, shingles, etc. It's not going to be allowed. No. They're saying that because they want people to get upset. They want people to get mad. The pharmaceutical companies, as you know them, are all coming down, and most of them have already come down in the background. So sure, they would absolutely love to put that in everything. That's why it was so stunning that when they put something in that was affecting people's RNA, and people were like, ah, just my RNA. Ah, it's no big deal. It was like, really? Really? So humanity just needs to go through this wave. Remember that you can heal yourself. You can neutralize these spike proteins that are within you. You can vibrate at a high enough level that they're not going to be activated. So, but of course, just don't take the vaccines. That's the bottom line. And until everything gets cleared out, then that's the best way to do it, is just don't take them. Humanity doesn't need them. You have never needed to have all these vaccines. It's just you've had a whole 1-2 generations, maybe 3, that think that that's what you have to have. And it's all part of the mind control that's been going on that is changing and going down. Is it true that many advanced technologies will soon be released to the public? Yes. Yes. So we've talked earlier about the different timelines, and in some of these alternative timelines where they're already living, they have these advanced technologies. They're using them already. It's almost as if there is an overlay that was placed upon the planet and all of humanity and all of consciousness that happened about 1850 to 80, something like that. And that, so in other words, it's not just the last 80 years. It's been much longer than what you think it has been. And so probably about 130 to 150 years would be my guess. And as that overlay is removed, then suddenly the technology will be there, the information will be there. You know, some of this slowness of the awakening of people is so that people don't go into too much shock or too much hurt or become inert. And that's already been passed. But there still has to be some sort of a awakening or awareness so that people do get shaken up, so that people do get mad, so that people do realize what's been done. Because if it just wobbles along like this, it's not going to be enough. And so so that's why all of those people that keep saying, we're just waiting, we want it to not be traumatic. Well, we've passed that point. So at any time now, they can let it out, and they're not going to have, I mean, obviously there will always be people that are going to be devastated and have a hard time with it. But it's not the kind that it would make people now go catatonic. That's just not going to happen. I don't know if I even answered that question. I hope I did. What can you tell us about PILCHY? Is this a part of the earth said to have ascended? I've never heard that word PILCHY. And let me see if I can tap into whatever it's talking about. It feels like it's a word used for something else, and it feels very limited to me when I tap into it. I am not very familiar with it. I believe it is something that is an overlay that was put over something else, and it feels limiting to me. What was the question? What do I know about it, or what do I think about it? I think it's fake, or I think it's limited, or I think it was there maybe to be a bridge, to be used temporarily, and then when it's no longer used, it'll just kind of go away. It's not something that I feel is coming from ancient Earth. It does not feel like ancient Earth to me at all. How will the transition work? Is the universe moving us, or do humans need to do something? So the universe has prepared as much as they can. The universe has sent in wave upon wave upon wave of energy and frequency to stimulate the energies in the people. It is up to the people now to make those final choices and to make those final decisions. As soon as they do, and as soon as humanity is then open and welcoming the non-terrestrials to come in and to be a part of things, then that's when we'll go in our next phase of things. We're already coming in and out. Ships are going in and out. Things are already happening, and we are still working with those energies. But those people that they call the white hats, there have been lots of transitions that are going on. And the white hats include non-terrestrial beings. They include hybrid beings. They include humans. And there has been, when we look at that and what came up of it and what has happened over the years, some that were thought to be a part of the pure energy of transition turned out to be spies, or turned out to be double agents, or turned out to be against it. And so things would get so far, and then suddenly when things were just not happening, things were moving, then they realized, oh, someone else. And so they had to take those people out and then go on. So my sense is they've taken out just about as many as they can. They do not have the money that they used to have to be able to fund all these things. There is still human trafficking going on, and that is one of the ways in which funding is still available. It sounds so callous to say that, and I absolutely abhor it. All of us up here absolutely detest that. It is very, very horrific. And that is... And even that being said, it's not as bad as what it was at its worst time, but it is still going on. So the question then is, humanity has to make the next step. Hey, I am going to give everyone a job. It is your job to begin to live, feel, envision, share. If you don't want to talk about it to anyone, that's fine, but share the energy that the disclosure is done. Everybody knows everything. The earth has transitioned. It is done. It is over. It is complete. And just keep sending that out wave upon wave upon wave. And that will also help humanity. The expected changes in the financial system. But this week, Clif High said in a detailed post, I'm familiar with this one because Shelly, someone sent it to Shelly and said it does not exist. I disagree. I think he was doing that. I don't know why he was doing this. I've always had conflicting feelings about him. And I've mostly felt like he had good intention. But when I look at the planet, there is a new financial system worldwide. There is a quantum financial system that has been running for 2 years in the background. And there is going to be money and debt relief and these things. That is going to happen. So it feels as if this individual said this. And maybe he believes it. I get maybe that he does believe it. But my sense is it was more to make people mad and to make people upset. And but the thing is, That's not serving anything. That's not helping anything. So if that is his reality, then that is more of what is creating that fake timeline. Because the reality of the higher vibration and the higher frequency is that the quantum system has already transitioned. It is already running. It is already where your money is coming through. And people just don't know to call it that. So I think that's false information, and it's done to create fear in people. Are one of the three motherships described surrounding our planet referenced in our Bible by John in the book of Revelations as the New Jerusalem, New Haven, and New Earth? Oh, how about that? Please share information and its scheduled land here in the United States. So these motherships are never going to land on the planet. It was never the intention for them to land on the planet, but there will be emissaries from them that will land on the planet. My sense in just reading this from here, because I don't know your Bible the way you guys do, but my sense, and I wouldn't have a clue about those chapters or anything like that, but as I read those three names, they resonate with me that they are represented by the three ships that are up here that create this triangle. There will be big ships that come in that will help things on the earth plane, but the motherships themselves will never land on the earth plane. And it was never their intention to land on the earth plane. They don't land on any planet. They are created and maintained to be in stasis in the universe, you know, creating that balance of the energies. Interesting. Do you see the housing market and cost of living changing for the good in 2025? The housing market, okay, it feels like the housing market has already changed from what it was several years ago. It is still in a place that it's very hard for people to pay for rental units and to pay for homes because of the inflation and just that overexpanded price of things. So we feel like that'll come almost within just a few months of when this transition comes out, and the EBS and the above board information of the gold back system, all of that stuff. When that comes out, you will see almost an immediate transition of things. It will take longer, you know, to get down into the people renting or the people buying or things like that. But absolutely, it looks much, much better in 2025 than what it looks like in 2024. However, I thought that it would look better by summer of 2024, and we're still stuck in this limbo. So hopefully the limbo will be cleared and released as soon as possible. I heard you. I heard you. Everyone's saying, you said the broadcast system. What about the broadcast system? It is very, very, very important to have the broadcast system out there, because it is very important to have a consistent way to tell the entire planet what's been going on and at the breakdown. So that is going to be probably the pivotal point when everything else is going to start. When is the broadcast system? Is it going to be with the summer solstice? No. Is it going to be in July? We get a maybe for July. But again, we are not saying anything more than that, because every time we do, it pushes it out further and it pushes it out further. It will happen when it happens. And those of us up here in the ships and that are monitoring saw it happening 9 months ago. And so we keep pushing and nudging those people that are in charge to say, move it, move it, move it. But we cannot force humanity to do anything. Okay, anything else? Is our sun a portal for the ETs to enter our planet? No. There are many, many other portals that come in and out, and the sun and the moon both create energy fields around them, and they become like slingshots, you could say. But the actual portals that there are different than what the sun is. Now, the central sun, of course, is much bigger, much more intense than what the sun is that's around your planet. But people use it more as a slingshot than actually going through it to get from one place to another. So the portals are in other parts of the universe. All right, anything else? Okay, I have spoken a great deal, and I will step aside and have Brysentia come in. But thank you very much for sharing this time with me. I truly appreciate each one of you. Ansaluia. Greetings, it is I, Brysentia. I come into you at this time, and I do want to speak in reference to what Albayon spoke about with all these different ships and motherships and triangulations. You've heard, everyone here has heard of sacred geometry, and sacred geometry is literally the communication of movement in the universe. Sacred geometry is a word that you use on the earth plane. It has different words out here in the universe for us. It has different words for different planets to use to reference it. But geometry is mathematics. Quantum physics is mathematics. Quantum calculus, quantum everything. These are all ways of moving between point A and point B and giving depth and volume to whatever it is that you are looking at. So is it changing because of everything that's going on? No. But what is changing is people's perceptions. The quantum physics is about everything happens in this now moment. We can look backwards, we can look forward, we can look up and down, we can look at different alternative parallel experiences. But it all comes back to this now moment. So when you take that and you multiply it by the trillions and infinite potentials that are out within the universe, it actually creates various cycles that move, various waves of energy that move, and this is but another way of the stability that is created in the ethers, in the in-between out within your universe. It's the in-between between the various planets. It's the in-between between your planet and the rest of your galaxy. It's the in-between that you have in the dimensions that are upon your earth. Those of you that are on the top, those of you that are within at the higher dimensions, those that are in a place of stasis. So these are all but ways of that are interconnected to show you that this is the universe. This is your planet. This is replicated in many, many, many different ways. So be aware that as you begin to hear about alternative energy, it's going to be coming through this quantum mathematical systems. That's what's going to tap you into it. The what are they called? Magrev, you know, that they use the magnetic energies of the earth plane, and then they hover upon the earth and they move from point A to point B. You know, those are using basically types of mathematical equations that put it all together to allow it to work. So be aware that what you have thought about as the mathematics, what many of the things that you have learned over your lifetimes, not only about your history, but about your mathematics, about the universe, about the planets, it's all been skewed to have a particular intention or a particular agenda. So as so much of this information starts to come out, and the first thing that has to happen is the transition of the planet Earth, but then it'll be after that that you'll begin to hear, oh, it didn't really happen like that, it was more like this. Oh, they actually had lasers, and they actually levitated things, and they actually built, you know, all of these different things that you think about with your past. that all will come out and it will be made known to humanity, but not this year, not next year. It's going to be, that's, you know, further down the line in the process. Just as with everything else that has changed during this time of transition, there will be much of it that will come out to those of you that are at the forefront, and then it will come out in different phases to others at other times. Another thing that came up to me that people are asking about is the history, like those tablets that are kept in history. The things that are kept up in Shambhala, the things that are kept from the Atlantean tablets, as they are called, the things that have to do with the library in Alexandria that is associated with the pyramids. All of these various things exist in multiple dimensions. So when you look at certain places and you're trying to find where's that information, where is it? It's in a different dimension, but it might be in that similar location. And the information is stored way more places than what you realize. There have been others that talk about native beings, you know, they're things that are sacred to the native beings. They are being told that that's being taken down because they're trying to get rid of that. Like say, for example, the trees, say, for example, some of the caves, say, for example, some of the lands that these people are on, and they know that they have portals there that energies go in and out of. Things like that cannot be destroyed. They try as hard as they can, but many things, just think back to Avalon, when Avalon removed itself from the earth plane. Think back to other civilizations, Sumeria, when they removed themselves from the earth plane. So many times what happened was, whatever that civilization was, they just rose up into a higher frequency, so it was as if they disappeared. When you go inside the earth plane, the inner earth is at a higher vibrational frequency than that which is the surface of the earth. I just heard someone say, which is why we're telling you it's flat. The perspective is coming through is that each of these dimensions, they're just looking at a cross section of it. They're not seeing it in the whole when they say it's flat. It is not necessarily perfectly round, but it does have different energy and different shape to it than what you would anticipate. But it is not just one flat plane and that's it. There's more of an oval to roundish type energy. And some of that energy is the frequency that holds people onto the earth through the gravitational pull. Some of that energy is what the ancient ones have worked to maintain to keep it in clarity. And so it will always be there, because if not, then the earth plane would just kind of dissipate out into the universe and become a part of everything else. So that is a part of what makes it a planet. Let's see. I feel like I had one other question, or one other thing I wanted to talk to people about before I took questions. I want you to have patience. It's very, very hard to have patience, especially with so many of you that have been at this for 20 years, 50 years, you know, 10 years, 8 years, 5 years, whatever the length of time may be, 1 year, 1 month. So many of the people that are waking up and just learning about this all right now, they're like, yeah, I've been knowing that there was something. Let's get on to it. So it doesn't matter if it's a month or if it's 50 years or what the length of time is. You're ready. You're ready. The planet is ready. And it is just about being in the space that when everything happens, you're here, you're ready to step up and be that anchor for all of those around you. For all these individuals that will question, that will want to know, well, what is all this talking about? How can that have been? You've got to be kidding me. I don't believe it. Think about how you felt when you first learned about these things. So get your ducks in a row. Have those videos ready, have those articles ready, and then as more and more people around you begin to wake up, then you can say, here, for your reading information. There was one other thing. Oh, I loved when Albayon said, when you go into your prayers and meditation, see that fake timeline is gone. There is no fake timeline because it's gone. There is only the truth. There is only the reality. And that is that the earth that's sitting here, this beautiful planet that you have, is vibrating at a 5th to 6th frequency. It's vibrating way more than that. But you guys are able to live in that 4th, 5th, 6th densities or dimensions, whatever you want to call it. So see that in your mind's eye. Put that forth as your intention. Bring it into you and then send it out in waves. Yes, we are here. We've done the work. The world's done the work. The universe has done the work. Everyone's done the work. I now live in an open communication, a well-versed information to all. And that fake timeline is gone. And everyone that was fake within it is gone. And they have no influence on anybody else. Whew. So someone's, Shelly's saying in the back of her mind, maybe take these 2 clips out and make a little short. How to maintain the new frequency or merging into only the true frequency or timeline. Okay, well, it is already getting late, so let's go ahead and start doing some questions. I'm happy to hear the dragon are finally active once again, and they are helping us. Will they be showing themselves to us? Okay, so I have actually been working quite a bit with the dragons. I have, the dragon energy is very prevalent in various planets that are in this part of the universe. There are many, many dragons that come from the Pleiades. So I have worked with the dragons for a very, very long time, and I'm working with them consistently now. So I would encourage you to reach out to them, ask them to come in your meditation and prayers, ask to be in their vibration and frequency. When everything is done, you will begin to see more dragons be present. Where the way it was in the past, it's like you look out a window, you'd say 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not going to be like that anytime soon, if ever. But there will be more and more dragons that will come onto the earth plane. Again, let's look at that. You do recall, when was it, 3, 4 months ago, when, I don't know if it was me or Albayon, mentioned that the dragons were in those deep, deep caverns, and many of them were beginning to wake up. So as I look at them and as I ask them, they are way more awake than what they were so asleep that they had become the stone. So think about it as stone needing to reawaken. So it takes a minute, but they are all in the process of reawakening. And there will be many, many, many of them that you will see, and it will become, and no, they will absolutely not be in any sort of a zoo. Someone said, are they going to be in the zoos? Absolutely not. But you will hear more and more about them, and people will be able to work with them. Very interesting. That is known as dragon is here, of course, and let's see what he has to say. Greetings, it is I, Dragon. One of the things that I did want to mention is that there are so many ways in which healing and expansion of consciousness can take place through the dragon energy. I personally am working with many of you. I am assisting people to expand their consciousness. And just as there was that question about the DNA earlier, I am trying to help people understand how to move from being in the limitation into the full. So there are probably about 100 of us that come in and out of the earth plane on a consistent basis. We work with the energies of education, and we work with the energies of disclosure. So we don't work with the minutia of what you're talking about as the EBS disclosure. We're talking about the disclosure of the true beings that have lived and breathed and prospered on this planet. Humanity is incredible, And they have been through many, many, many things over the years, but so have the dragons, so have the fairies, so have the elves, so have the Andromedans, so have the Syrians. So we can look at many of the different planets that have been out in the universe that have come and inhabited the earth at one point or another, some as their true being, which might be a cat with consciousness, or a dragon with consciousness, or, you know, whatever the being is that you consider an animal, that they're not really an animal, because they have this expanded and elevated consciousness. So yes, they've all been able to be on the earth before, and many of them are coming back again. The dragons are but one group of beings that are coming back in this way. So yes, I'm working with Shelly. She's just been distracted by many different things that are going on right now. And once this is all complete, we will have classes that will be the dragon energy, in which she will channel me. And yes, at some point, maybe 2 years down the road, I will literally manifest when we're at these classes. And so it is exciting. There is so much that is happening. So do what is joyful to you. Do what you want to do in all of this. But the main thing is to remember that you already have so much potential, so much opportunity that is in and around you right now. So don't look in your little box. Look outside of your box and continue to look for change. Absolutely. I love his energy. I love his energy. I don't know if you guys could feel it, but whenever we talk, we are always sending waves of energy that go into each one of you, helping you, upgrading your energies, fields, just lots of different things going on. So as Dragon was here, I was literally just sitting on his back and letting him speak, but he's beautiful. He's beautiful. He can change colors, as many of them can. And the colors that he was representing tonight were like a turquoise and a blue with some deep magenta in it. Wouldn't you love to change colors like that? Sometimes I can, but I'm just blue and less blue. Anyway, I digress. Okay, what's the next question? Are the Huna Han Monkey warriors of India still active? They have been dormant for many, 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 many years, but they are coming out and they are making a resurgence. They're not going to come out to a massive extent like they have been in the past. They were very, very active when the world itself was much smaller. But they're ready, they're available to assist with this ascension process if need be, but they're not going to become a aggressive unit, if that's what you're thinking of. They're more so for backup, and they will help if needed. But speaking of what you guys consider animals, these monkeys, they're not monkeys. They come from another planet. And so they are just a different species that is equally evolved or equally intelligent or equally communicative. But because they look like monkeys, you consider them monkeys and you think, oh, they're monkeys. But no, they come from another planet. Our guides, are they really just a part of ourselves? No. There are many, many times when you will have a guide or your higher self that is a part of you, because as your soul, you are very huge and expansive. But many times, guides that are here to assist you are from another being. Sometimes it can be something as simple as, sorry, Shelly's mind just went blank. I downloaded something too quickly. So be aware that guides can come in for a particular reason to help you transition or learn a particular experience. And then when you're through that, you don't have them around you anymore and you move in another direction. Or you keep going in that direction as long as you need to. So you may have angels, angelic beings, guides ETs, lots of different beings can come in here and be like an advisor to you, would be another way of looking at that. And so absolutely, they're not always just your own aspects of your soul. Do you see human rights in China improving? Our perception was that they have already. So if the question is written like that, then perhaps things, just as all this other stuff seems to be in stasis, then perhaps it has not transitioned as much as we had hoped that it would. When this is all done, you will not see the restrictions in China that you saw before. I will say that the communist China is not in charge anymore. It is the part that are part of the white hats, if you call them that. And so yes, there will be an improvement in the standard of living in all the countries, but including China. There will be great changes. I mean, China, Russia, the Middle East, many of that section, Romania, you know, they have really ancient energies. And some you might consider like Australia, New Zealand, Americas, parts of those might seem as if they're the newer aspect of the earth. So this part is very, very ancient, and a lot has come from China over the thousands and thousands and thousands of years. But there will be great transitions in China also. Why do I have strange dreams most of the time of places that I don't recognize? Because you're astral traveling, that's the word they use, astral traveling in your dream state. The astral plane is just that lowest vibrational frequency around the earth plane. So truly, you're not staying in the astral. You're going out to the universe. You're going into another vibration or frequency. I'm thrilled that you're able to remember enough to know, hey, this is not a place I know of. So maybe if you have paper and pen or a recorder or something beside your bed, that before you come fully awake, just start jotting down notes and starting down thoughts, and you will get more and more memories that will come out to you, and it will help you to understand more, not only about the universe, but your soul, other aspects, other dimensions, and all of this information that you're learning during your dream state. But that is one of the very, very common ways that this information is coming through to you. What does Albayon mean when they say it's up to humanity to make the change? So if it was up to the universe to say, we're tired with everything that's going on, we're going to come in, we're going to forcibly change the frequency, we're going to come down, we're going to show ourselves, we're going to say this is the way it's going to be from now on. We've gotten rid of all this control and manipulation. That's no longer going to be allowed. Then that would be the universe interfering in the planet. So everything that we're doing on all these many different levels are helping humanity to come to the realization of what this control and manipulation has been, to come to the place where they are consciously ascending to a level that will no longer allow this to happen. Everyone has heard about Noah's flood. That was a time when the consciousness of the planet had the opportunity to rise very high and shift on, but through whatever it was that at the time that caused it, it didn't work. Everything collapsed in upon itself because there was not enough of a foundation. And so the entire planet was flooded and they started again. You think about Lemuria, and during Lemuria, think about the Sumerian times. There have been, and even more ancient than Lemuria, going back hundreds of thousands of years, if not millions. There have been other times when people have lived and grown on the earth plane, and then for whatever reason, it sank back down. Our belief is because those nefarious ones have been interfering with things for the last 400,000 to 500,000 years. Half of a millennia. That's a long time. And so that was one of the reasons that it sabotaged things and caused things to crash in the way they did. So we have helped you by helping to remove the nefarious ones, to get them out of here. We're talking about the ET nefarious ones. And then it was up to humanity to send to the courts, what are those things called? Military tribunals, and to arrest these beings that are the humans that have been doing this, and to show that and show what they have done to the world. So that's why we say humanity has to be the ones to say, I am not going to put up with those vaccines. I am not going to put up with the fake food. I am not going to put up with the chemicals that are in everything. I am not going to let someone control and manipulate me in the way that they have in the past. And there are millions of you, in fact, billions of you that are doing so, but it still just needs to be more and more and more. And then those that are kind of monitoring this will be the ones that say, okay, it's time. And then they'll show the EBS, and then the military will step in. The military has already been in just about every single country. But this is where some of the problems have arisen, is they thought they had the safe military in control, and then it would be infiltrated from within, and that had to be taken out again. They had to rebuild it back again. And then they had the safe military. Okay, let's go about doing this. And that's happened more than a dozen times over the last 4 years. So this is why we speak of that. The other thing that goes along with this is it has got to be a consciousness ascension. Not just, I'm going to put up with this, I'm not going to put up with this anymore. That's a choice that humanity is making. But the consciousness of humanity has to be at that higher vibrational frequency so it doesn't go back down. Why do you have so many people on your planet right now? Because you've got more than half of that billion are people that have been very highly evolved individuals that came back that said, I can hold the frequency, I will hold the frequency, I will be the forefront. And a lot of them are these older people over 50. But others came in at different levels of consciousness to also be a part of anchoring that. So the spiritual ascension means that the consciousness of the planet is aware that they have a soul essence and that they are a part of the universal light essence, the universal energy, just like Albayon spoke about universal law. And that is what is going to come down and will be in place on the earth plane. So it's not just black and white. It's multiple levels of transition. It's multiple levels of awareness. And these are the primary ways. Okay, anything else? Is this spiritual war about the bloodlines? The spirituality is about the consciousness. The bloodlines is a way in which they took the nefarious energies and integrated it into humanity. There have been, I mean, each of you have your own bloodline for your history of your family that you are a part of. Some of it go back to ancient times. Some of it go back a few generations. It just depends. But the bloodlines that they speak of was the way in which they created the framework of their nefarious intentions. That's where they created the fake banking. That's where they created the fake civilizations. That's where they created these things. And they said, oh, only these 13 deserve to have them. And only these 13 deserve to be a part of the reptilians. And we're going to help the reptilians to give them what they want. So that's how all of that interacts with each other. They are by no means high frequencies. They are but a way of creating a framework that was a part of this control and manipulation. And so they've all been taken out. They were all capitulated long, long time ago. It's only the minions that are still trying to take over. and not succeeding. All right, anything else? Okie dokie. Well, Shelly's getting tired, as you can tell. So I will bring my part to a close, and let's see what Crystallia says. Thank you as always. Ansaluia. Greetings. It is I, Crystallia. I come to be present with you at this time of the solstice. I love how I can look at your planet and see, oh, it's winter over here. Oh, it's summer over here, and how they balance one another. It is almost an exact middle section and almost an exact amount. It is very interesting for me to see. But whether you're in the winter or the summer, it matters not, because the energies of this solstice are wide open. They're infused with these deep impulses that are coming through from the central sun and other aspects of the universe. I wanted to share more about what Albayon mentioned with those monoliths that are coming up. Do you remember a show called, I believe it was The Arrival or something like that? Very, very, very simplified. But in that movie, they had monoliths that showed up in different parts of the world. And it was introducing telepathy. And it was introducing time, space, reality transitioning. So if you like to watch movies, maybe go back and double check that one again. But what these monoliths are doing is something similar. They are each completely programmed by places that are out within the universe. And in their programming, they're in specific parts of the planet so that it draws from the energies in those ley lines and in those areas, and it sends out frequencies of energy that are rebalancing the earth plane. It is clearing out the soil, and it is clearing out the energies of the old junk energies, you could say. And it is part of what is helping humanity. They may stay for a day, for a week, for a month. It depends on the area in which they are. Some humanity will never even see. They are deep in the mountains. But some of them you will see. And people, of course, will be very curious. They'll go look at them. They'll make up their stories about what they are. We care not, because they're still doing what they need to do. So going back to that other question that someone had, why is it up to humanity, and what is the universe doing? So, and is this interfering? This is not interfering, because humanity has already cleared out the lower vibrational energies and frequencies. They've already gotten rid of those that kept perpetuating a lot of the villainy that was going on. So there are still some. I do know that. However, a fraction of what it used to be. So as these come up, what it will do is it will illuminate anything that is of a low vibration, because they can't handle it. One way to think about vibration is, if there is an essence or an energy around you that's vibrating, that is in like vibration with you, you feel good, you feel expanded, you feel comfortable, you feel happy, you feel excited. If you're around a vibration that is much higher than you, it may cause you to feel sleepy and drowsy, because yes, I like it, yes, it feels good, but I can't quite handle it, so I get sleepy and drowsy. When you're around something that is a lower vibration than you, it feels gross. It makes you want to, like, oh, I got to get out of here. Oh, I don't want to be here. Oh, I can't stand this energy. So, of course, there are many, many more variations between that, but that's just to give you an idea of it. So as these monoliths have come up, then, and they radiate out these energies, some are going to feel all of these and more response to it. Okay, I was just listening to someone asking me a question. So one question said, so if anyone goes close to it, will they touch it? Will they die? Will they have a heart attack? No, it's nothing as dramatic as that. People will not be able to get close enough to it unless they are of that exact vibration. Otherwise, the closer they get to it, it's like they'll feel a frequency that just keeps them away. So they can't touch it unless they're of that exact frequency. I do want to share with you, I thought Brysentia might, but there have been so many beings that have been in stasis within your planet. There may be 1 or 2 layers down or something like that. And some of them are awakening, and they're going to be a part of working with humanity going forward. But some of them have also been removed. It was just their physical body that was there in stasis, waiting for their consciousness to come back. And those bodies have disappeared. Some people are aware of it. Some people are not aware of it. And the reason for this is because they were part of those that had been creating problems in the past, and they were going to come back in again if they needed to take control of the planet once more, but they can't. They can't do it anymore. And so many of those bodies that were in stasis, and some of these were what you referred to as the giants, and some of these were what you referred to as the spirit gods in certain place. And so many of them have just disappeared. Whew, so much. Okay. So going back to that fake timeline, I don't honestly see it. I used to see a timeline that was all caught up in people that were enjoying the trauma drama, people that were enjoying being in their cocoons, and I don't even see that anymore from my perspective. I do see the timelines that are maybe only 2 and 3 that overlap one another, that is of humanity being aware, humanity opening up massively in their consciousness, and humanity creating this place on earth that they have always wanted to have. What did they call it? Heaven on earth. And that is something that is coming about, and it is something that will be made available to people. I believe, since I have in the past, I have seen what you guys referred to as that fake timeline. So it went from being a timeline that was inhabited by many, many, many people to being a fake timeline to being gone. So again, it's my vibration, my higher perspective. It's something I don't see anymore, but I did in the past. And maybe that's another way of helping you to understand that you are so close to these changes taking place. I would say to you, if you can, for this solstice, get outside. Do something that gets you out in nature. Be it walking in a park, walking in the water, swimming in the oceans, swimming in the lakes, whatever it is that you can do. Be a part of the elements as much as you can, because that is not only going to help to trigger your own energies, but it will also help what you're bringing down through your energy bodies. It will help to anchor it within the earth plane and wherever it is that you live. People will be doing this and they won't even be aware that that is what is happening. There are some pretty significant solar flares that have come in, 1 or 2 in the past month, and they're kind of getting a little bit bigger, little bigger, little bigger. There's a fairly significant one in July that, like around the 10th or so. And if depending on how people react to the energies of the solstice and what's happening with the frequency with these last ones, it may be no different than what you've already felt. But if people are not really moving forward as they need to, then it could be felt a little more significantly by people. So much so that people on mainstream media are saying, did you see that solar flare? Did you feel that solar flare? Oh my goodness, what happened here? And it will light up the sky, so to speak. Like, you know how you can see, what are those things that go across the sky? This will be like something that amplifies the sky and people will actually notice it. So it's all happening. You're here. You have a very, very important job, and you're doing a fabulous job at keeping the frequency raised. Of course, there are those that are not where you are right now, but that has always the way that it has been. So you are doing a great job. Continue to be in the light. When you see things that just don't resonate or don't make sense, let them go. Don't give it any energy. Use your discernment because you've got it. You've got the discernment. You've got the intuition. So listen to that. All right, Alexander, any questions for me? How is the new crystalline grid affecting humanity? Great question. So this grid work that has been around the earth plane has literally been it's like, if you think about it, there was this grid that surrounded the earth that held humanity there. It was hooked into the matrix, as you guys called it. And so as that was dismantled and taken down, that grid just naturally expanded because it naturally wants to be in a higher, lighter vibrational frequency. It was held in and held small. So as that began to expand, it's like instead of having things densely, closely connected, those connections became bigger, and then energies could start coming through that. And this is one of the ways that the energy continued to integrate into the earth plane. So when it got to a certain point of stasis, it could only go so far. So then the next level of consciousness is the crystalline energies. So then the crystalline began to work with integrating that grid work and integrating that which was already around the earth plane. And this allowed things to go even further. So now, because it's been, what has it been, 10, 12, 14 years, maybe even 20 years. Didn't they start coming in at year 2000? So now that it has been as long as it has, there is very little of that original grid discernible as different from the crystalline grid. So there's only the crystalline grid, and that is only a grid that is of a high light frequency and vibration. And so how does that affect things? It allows for humanity's consciousness to expand because you no longer have a cap on you. You can expand and become as big as you want to be. Anything else? Okay. Well, fabulous session tonight. Thank you for always being here to embrace the three of us. We truly, truly believe in humanity and everything that you are doing. We love everyone dearly, and we are always here, ever in support of you. Ansaluia. Whew. Wow. All right, this is Shelly back again. Wow, that was a pretty good one. As always, I don't really remember much I mean, things may filter back lately, but like if you just ask me right now, what was it about? I don't know. Okay, so great group. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for all those many, many questions. I really appreciate it. Whether it's your first time or your 10th time watching this, please consider subscribing. There should be those things in here. I know I added at the end, and then get the notifications. I come out and do this about every couple of weeks or so. Don't forget my class that's coming up next month, which is about soul communication. It's about all of this energy, and it's about learning how to live in it and have it work with you. So anyway, consider taking that if that's something that you're interested in. But thank you as always for being here. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the solstice. Is it your winter? Is it your summer? It's summer for us. And oh my goodness, we've had the worst heat wave. It's been horrible, but today was beautiful. So, so anyway, thank you everyone. Bye-bye.